There we go. All right. So with no hat comes no mic, which is kind of half the purpose, because I can stick my little clip-on microphone onto the side of the, not the brim, but just like the border of it. And then hat mic is freaking perfect. But I've got a little bit of a shotgun one that I'm trying now. So if this whole video sounds terrible, sorry. I think it's probably going to sound decent. I got like a low cut filter on the thing. Whatever. What freaking ever. But either way, the plan for this morning is to thrash back. So lats on their own, mid-back traps on their own, kind of treating them as their own muscle group. And, you know, you can even bisect that further, right? You can keep cutting your back down into probably a million different sections, because you could say, okay, I want to do a certain amount of volume for my lats, and that certain amount of volume is only going to be vertical pull downs, and then I want to do pullovers, and then I want to do, you know, tucked elbows rows for my lats as well. So that, you know, you can really hit your lats in a ton of different ways. Same thing with your traps, because traps you're going to be able to hit regular shrugs, where you're pulling your shoulders and your shoulder blades upward, and then you're also going to have more of like a mid-back focused row. So you're not using your traps to pull your shoulders up, but you're using your traps to pull your shoulders back. And your traps are long, you know, like if you were to think of your trap as if it got like sliced off you and smacked onto a table, it's going all the way from, you know, up here over your collarbone that you can see, pretty much all the way down to the middle of your back. So that lower section is what I think would probably add to what you'd call your back's thickness, like just your front to back thickness right in your center, or not your center, but like your midpoint of your back almost. And it's kind of responsible for that pulling backwards motion, right? Retracting your shoulder blades towards each other. Whereas your upper trap, that meathead kind of look, that's going to come from just camping out by the by the heavy dumbbells, barbell, whatever, and then just smacking a bunch of regular shrugs around. I think shrugs, I don't know. I think people kind of get the gist. I'd say back in 2010, that more early 2000s era, the idea of big traps was very impressive, like having your traps and like a really thick neck, like that was kind of the look, like more meatheady. Whereas now I think we get the gist that if you want to look a little broader when it comes to your torso, that's going to come from your shoulders. That's coming from side delts, rear delts, kind of extending outward, widening your frame. You know, you try to frame max there by doing a bunch of freaking side delt laterals and, you know, really widening up. There's that big ass hawk that's always there. Yeah. But, you know, to each their own. But if you want a really like thick, kind of neck looking wrestler kind of, well, then do a crap ton of shrugs. But I don't necessarily want that. So that's why I'm not gonna, I mean, not only am I not gonna, but I haven't done shrugs in my workout routines for quite a while, like years. Because your traps do get worked inadvertently a little bit, and I want that shoulder look. I want that wide shoulder, not that like extra thick neck kind of look, if you get what I'm saying. But I'm not sure if I'm going to do rows first or lats first. I guess I'll kind of see once I get started. Last back day, or maybe 2 back days ago, it was 2 back days ago, I supersetted the 2. So I did 6 sets total, where each set was a pull down to failure, and then immediately an upper mid-back row to failure. And I was still pretty fresh for that upper mid-back row section, but that's a lot. That was a little bit too much. That was like kind of a fast-paced, lower rest period kind of workout. So this one I think I'll just do one then the other, or back and forth with rest in between. So maybe like 2 pull downs, 2 rows, 2 pull downs, 2 rows, or pull down row, something along those lines. You know, I guess we're just gonna have to see what happens. Because when I warm up and loosen up and, you know, do a couple of feeler reps, that's what's gonna tell me, all right, does this pull-down machine feel good to start with? Or do I want to start with something else? Start with a seated row, start with a V-bar or a wide bar. Little things like that. I want to make sure I'm not just repeating the same workout back to back. Even if it's a good workout, I don't want it to get stale. Not only in terms of like its stimulus, but also just for me. If I came into the gym and every day was exactly the same, it wouldn't really be that fun. It'd probably get pretty boring. So that's one tip I have for anybody where they say, I'm really bored of my split. It's like, are you bored of the split or are you bored of the workouts that you're doing? Because if you're bored of your workouts, then changing your split isn't going to help. Switching from Arnold to push-pull legs or like chest back arms to arms chest back, if you change the order in which you do this boring thing, it's still going to be boring, but you just, you're somehow convincing yourself that it won't be because you've changed a variable, which is good, but you got to change the right variable, So for those who are unaware, the non-daily viewer, the bulk has been delayed. So packing on a crap ton of size has been delayed until further notice. Now, the reasoning is because I've been bulking every summer for the past, I think 3 years. And I don't want to say I've paid the price for it, because, the bulks were successful. But more so in a just kind of a lifestyle approach, it's just not as fun. And I've kind of been convincing myself, who gives a shit, man? If you're bulking, bulk through the summer. Which, it got me to where I am now. So I'm not saying it was a wrong move. But this summer, I'm going to stay a little bit leaner. Plus, I kind of spoiled myself with this last prep. Actually getting to see, myself come into the gym on just a regular day, peeled like a beast. So I'm going to get a little, I'm going to say a little leaner. I don't want to say gaining, because I'm eating in a mild deficit. So that's not gaining, that's just maintaining. But, yeah. And then once I decide, all right, let's try to tip the scale, I gotta tip it slow. I want to tip it really slow. I thought I was doing that these last 2 months post-show. I thought all right, let's just crank it up to 3,300. I was just eating 2,500-ish or so. My maintenance was probably 3,000. So in my head, I'm just a mild deficit, or a mild surplus, start eating some food. But that coupled with all of the junk days, because I'm hey, shit, no more competing, let's get some food in my system. Yeah, that amount of, or that rate of body fat deposition, not good. So, let's say fast forward 2 months, 3 months, all right, let's start pushing food again. I really want to creep it up slow. So, let's say, what's this? Is today the 31st? Come on. Yeah, the 31st. So end of June, July, August. Yeah, probably end of August, end of July, or something like that. But let's say my calories have been a very steady 2,800. Maybe 2,700. We'll kind of see what happens. I'll have refeeds in here again. It's not just 2,700 strict. But let's say 2,700 is the number. Well, then starting August 1st or August whatever, I'll creep it up to 2,800. I'll creep it up just to that 2,800 mark. And then see what happens. So usually in my head, I'm thinking, all right, if I want a surplus, I want to feel it. I want to know that I'm in a surplus, and I want to actually see the results on the scale change. So I'm jump my carbs by 100. So that would be a 400 calorie increase. But I think that is just a little steep for my current goals, right? So me saying this is not a, what's the word? Let's just call it a regret of having done hefty, soft bulks in the past. I'm probably not going to remember, but imagine there's a picture right here. This was me 2 years ago, or even last year, just peak bulk, much softer. Obviously a big bulk look, but yeah, I've kind of been bulked for longer than I've been cut for the last few years. Because I'll do a 6-month bulk, and then a 2-month mini cut, and then another bulk. Now, it was a little different for these bodybuilding shows because the prep was just, it had to be longer to take it to that level. So the last like year and a half, I've been dieting for like, I think 10-ish months out of it. So a little more than half. So yeah, I think the scales have tipped where I've been bulked for a while, and now I want to see what it's like lean for a little while. And it's very different just walking around lean for your own sake than it is for a show. And I don't know if you'd relate to this, because I think some people would think, all right, I'm doing a bodybuilding show, that's really going to make me lock in and want to get leaner. Whereas, I think from my experience, at least just doing a regular dieting phase just for me is a bit, it's different, because there is no end date. There's no just one day that this dieting is for. It's more so for just a state of being, like the only reason I'm staying this big and that I'm eating how I do and I keep training and everything else, not only, because I like training, but let's just say, why am I doing this afterward? What's the point? It's just because I like freaking being big, like just walking around big. And it's not even like in a show-offy kind of way, but I don't know, I've just always thought it was cool. Like going back in the early high school, watching like the 90s season 1 and season 2 of Baki, where they're doing the I think the Grand Tournament. I don't know, whatever the hell it was. Like, something about that just gets me going. So in a very simple, lift weight, get big kind of mentality, that's just cool to me. But either way, plan for today, go freaking nuts. So let's just stop talking about it and go make it happen. All right. So obviously, I want to bring it, but I'm going to make it a little bit of a goal today specifically. No, I think this all the time, but I really don't want to leave anything in the tank. There's a certain feeling, I was talking about this yesterday after arms, where you can get close, right? You're almost there. You're 70, 80% of the way to a really awesome set. But you might convince yourself, ooh, that was a good one, put it down. And I'm not saying every set has to be insane heft, failure, a zillion plates. But on a few, right, the more often that you catch yourself, or I guess what's really worse is when you don't catch yourself having a set that just ends. It's not complete, but it's just ended, right? No good. So I'm going to try to go totally crazy on all these. I think 12-ish sets total, 6 rows and 6 pull downs, or 6 lat focused movements has kind of been doing the trick for me. Now, if I decide on 7, well, that's fine too, but something like that. Whew. Come on. Ooh. Yeah. Probably 2 more just like that. This specifically is really getting me in like mid-trap. At least that's what I'm focusing on. Woo. Yeah, that machine is freaking sweet. The stack, way too heavy. Let's do 260 instead, a little more reasonable. So if you were listening in the car, I was saying some shit about an elbows tucked row. So if I sat here, especially with lighter weight, and I really kept my elbows down, maybe leaned forward just a touch, and I only pulled the handle like towards my lower belly button, that would be a lot of lat, right? That's like the bottom of a pullover, this action here. So I'm aiming for a little more of like an elbows flared upward movement, because I want this to hit my upper back. I'm saving my lats for the next 6 sets. And they've kind of already gotten worked. I mean, I was definitely getting lat activation on those rows. So that's why I think 6 is a good number, because the two kind of overlap a little. But not that 6 is the magic number. It's just kind of what I'm hitting right now. Come on. Gotta hit play manually. Come on. All right. Oh, shit. Come on. I fucking lost my leather strap. These strappy ones. Okay, shit. All right, actually, I lied. Let's not start with a pull down. Let's start with a pull over. All right, 5 reps in the left, 5 in the right. Repeat until cooked. So I don't mind a double arm pullover, but there's something about single arm I think you're missing out on if you don't do it. Set up as such, shoulder width stance, hold onto the upright with one hand, and then pull down and try to get your pinky towards your waist. That's kind of my cue. And I feel my lat flex all the way down to the lowermost point of insertion, which is what I want, because I want my lower lats to widen up, just to add to that, kind of turtle shell effect. Yeah, there we go, that's good. All right. One notch lighter, or heavier, I mean. There we go. Yeah. One more. Oh, that's on you. Might only need one more. Yeah. Let's straps off for this one. Come on, goddammit. There we go. All right, so we are currently at 6% body fat. Let me rephrase, 6% battery. So let's try to get this pose down done before it croaks. So let's see what a little through the shirt lat spread action looks like. Which, I mean, just on first glance, without even spreading it, looks pretty freaking nuts. But let's, let's let our eyes be the real judge. I mean, you tell me, man. That's a pretty substantial amount of, let's just say, lat. Let's just say lat pumpage. Pumpage is kind of a good word there. All right. So a little shorter on the lat volume. Only 5 instead of 6. But since that last set was kind of like, you know, a crazy, not crazy, but just a solid double drop set, I think it kind of gets the point across. But shit, I mean, not even flexing. Back is looking pretty freaking substantial. Let's see what it really looks like once I hit something. Oh, man. So when I'm talking about that upper back focus row and how your lats or your traps go way deeper than just this, like you see those two little lumps right in the middle of my shoulder blades? Like, look, touching, not touching, touching. That's lower mid trap. So every time I'm doing an upright-ish row on that machine with the plates or on the cable, that's what I want to feel. Not this low lat activation, but a really high up trap squeeze. Rear delts, teres major, like those demon eye looking things, and then deep mid lats. I definitely cannot reach that far onto my back to point at it, but I think you get the gist. Like that, trying to get my elbows to touch feeling. And on those pullovers, which is nice that I'm lean enough, I can actually see it. I'm trying to feel my lats squeeze all the way down there, right? Like see how it just comes down to this little point? That's what I'm feeling burn every bottom of every freaking rep. But let's hit an Arnold, because this thing is about to croak. Okay, to the car. If I can find the button. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Pumped, reasonably sweaty, not drenched sweaty, but reasonably sweaty. And now I'm hungry. Now I'm ready for some freaking food in my system. And not only that, hungry, but I'm thirsty. I gotta drink something. I don't know. You know, 2 years ago, maybe a little bit more, 2 or 3 years ago, I used to drink like minimum gallon of water, not a gallon, half a gallon of water per workout. And if I was bulking, it'd be half a gallon of like some kind of juice or like a Gatorade powder kind of mix or something like that, like an intra-workout carb. Not related to the carb part, but just the fluids part. I feel like now, the last few months minimum, maybe even longer, but I drink a ton before I work out. Like I've always got a gallon jug. I'll put some kind of zero sugar sweetener in, and I'll have like a liter and a half of that, 20 minutes or so before I get my pre-workout ready. And then the today all it was half a liter. Just one of these little bottles. Every time I get a shaker, I let it get gross. I got to make it a habit to just instantly bring the shaker with me and wash it, or else, you know what happens. You know what happens if you combine a shaker, even with just pre-workout, even worse with protein powder and the sun, whether it's in your car, in the trunk, on your window, I don't know, it doesn't matter. It's a very interesting chemical reaction, and it results in you throwing that shaker bottle straight into the trash can. But I had at least 2 liters of water before this workout, and didn't really feel like I was itching to sip on that much, So you tell me, am I missing out on intra-workout hydration? In terms of the pump, I don't necessarily really feel like it. And now that I think about it, when I was drinking that much water, like this is back in the Immortal Fitness days, cool gym, really weird that they keep the music crazy loud. Like it's I know that's like kind of a baby gripe, like, oh, it's a gym, you're supposed to have loud music, but the music was like wild loud. I'd come in at like 2 a.m., because this is back in my college, like, nocturnal period of time, and they'd get mad at me for turning it down. But it's like there was only one other person in there. The real problem was sometimes I'd forget to turn it back up for the next morning, so that's on me for going in the the little back room and messing with the sound system. But back then, I got a freaking huge ass jug every lift, and I just end up peeing a bunch. So like in between every couple of sets, I would just go to the bathroom because I was drinking a ton of water. Whereas more currently, not so much, So I don't notice a problem. But if you've ever kind of noticed that or had a similar situation, I'd love to hear your take, just so I get some more information on the matter. But you know what I'm getting excited for is for the freaking public pool to open up. I want to jump on the diving board again. I'm going to make sure I limber up, of course, and kind of get loose and touch my toes and loosen up my shoulders and stuff. But with the diving boards and the flips and everything, you don't forget how to do it. Like once you got it. Obviously, I can't do the same crazy stuff I could do when I was like 40 pounds lighter. 200-pound Sam, 190-pound Sam, that's an agile Sam. That was back when I could hit I could rip a 3.5 tuck on the 1 meter board. I don't know if I'll ever do that again. I could totally do it on the 3 meter. That's the high dive, but it's kind of freaky. It's easier to do that stuff in a big indoor pool, like a college pool, because it's easier to like tell where the ceiling is and where the water is. Outside, when it's so bright, and then you get the sun up on some angle or something, it kind of throws you off and makes it harder to time. Like I'd want a dark pool. That would I feel like that would actually help me be able to figure it out more. But yeah, me and Mark will definitely tear it up in Mingo. But yeah, I feel like I was about to say something, and now I forget. Oh my goodness. So post-workout meal, I think I'll do egg whites. I got a carton of egg whites that's been sitting for a little while. Egg whites last, but they don't, sometimes they last too long. You just leave them in the fridge. But yeah, I think probably 50 grams of egg whites, a little bit of sugar-free barbecue sauce, some kind of carb. Not sure what that carb will be, but some sort. And then I'm going to get a little bit of UV. I think I was close. I was like on the borderline of burning yesterday because I went out at like peak UV. I think I might tone it down a little bit. Maybe do 10 minutes. Maybe just do 15. Do a quick 15 minutes or each side, and then it'll be perfectly cooked, medium rare. Not well done. But yeah, nothing else to say there. I'm excited to see what, I'm just excited to get a peeled ass back again. Not that it's been that long. It's only been like a month that I've softened up a teeny bit. But yeah, I'm definitely on a leader kick. So, say hi to the freaking cats. Maybe give them a couple treats. Don't want to give them too many treats, but give them a couple. And then I will see you tomorrow for something. Tomorrow's going to be hamstrings, so it's not a very exciting day. So I may make it like a Q&A or something. Just change it up in some sort of way. But no matter what it ends up being, I will see you tomorrow.